All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful, but also one of the most misunderstood parts of digital marketing: search engine optimization, SEO. It's a topic that's just swimming in misinformation. So today, our goal is pretty simple. We're going to separate the myths from the reality. So let's start with a big question right off the bat. Why is there so much confusion around this? Well, it's because for years, SEO has been sold as this kind of mysterious dark art, full of secrets and shortcuts. But we're about to pull back the curtain on all of that. Now, if you only remember one thing from this whole talk, make it this. This is the single most important mindset shift you can make. The whole goal of modern effective SEO isn't to trick or outsmart Google. It's actually much simpler. It's about communicating so clearly that the search engines can perfectly understand what your content is about and who it's for. That's it. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to establish what good SEO actually looks like today. Then, we'll jump in and debunk 3 of the most common myths out there. And finally, we'll talk about the real long-term value that SEO can bring to a business. Okay, let's get into it. So, first up, what is good SEO really? Before we can start busting any myths, we have to get on the same page and build a solid foundation. And at the heart of that foundation is understanding the 2 totally opposite ways to approach this. On one side, you've got what's called black hat SEO. These are all the shortcuts, the unethical tactics you might have heard about, things like just cramming a page with keywords or buying thousands of really spammy, low-quality links. These tactics are all about trying to exploit loopholes to get some quick, short-term gains. But on the other side, we have white hat SEO. This is the professional, ethical approach, and it focuses on the fundamentals, creating amazing content that actually helps people, understanding what they're looking for, and building a website that's technically sound. This path, this is the one that's all about sustainable, long-term growth. And this quote just perfectly captures the difference, doesn't it? Those black hat tactics, yeah, they might give you a quick little spike in traffic, but they almost always end up getting you penalized by Google. White hat SEO, though, the sustainable approach, it really does work just like compound interest. The effort you put in today builds on itself tomorrow and the day after that, growing over time until it becomes this incredibly valuable long-term asset. Okay, now that we have that foundation in place, let's move on and tackle some of the biggest myths head-on. This is where we really clear up some of the most damaging ideas that hold people back. So first up is this idea that just won't go away, the belief that SEO success comes from knowing a few secret tricks or some loophole that nobody else knows about. This is just fundamentally not true. The reality is, SEO is a strategic process. It has clear phases. It almost always starts with a technical audit, just to make sure search engines can even crawl and understand your site. From there, it moves into content strategy, which is all about creating genuinely valuable information. And finally, it involves authority building, earning trust and credibility from other sites. See? No single trick. It's a real discipline. Here's a fantastic way to think about it. Doing SEO for a website is a lot like optimizing your resume. You're not trying to trick a recruiter, right? Of course not. You're carefully structuring the information, using the right keywords from the job description, and highlighting your strengths, all to make sure the right hiring manager finds you for the right job. SEO does the exact same thing, just for a website. Okay, this second myth is a huge one. It's a massive barrier for so many people, especially if you're studying marketing or business. It's this belief that you absolutely have to be a programmer or a web developer to do SEO. But the reality is that your main role in SEO is diagnosis and strategy, not writing code. I want you to think of yourself as a detective, or maybe a doctor for a website. Your job is to use tools to find the problems, like figuring out which pages are loading way too slowly, finding headlines that are unclear, hunting down broken links, or spotting places where the site is just a pain to use on a phone. So let me make this crystal clear. Your job is to identify the problems and create a prioritized to-do list. A developer's job is to take that list and actually implement the technical fixes. You are the strategist, they are the implementer. It's a team effort, a collaboration. And finally, let's get to the real strategic value of SEO. Because once you understand what it is and what it isn't, the next logical question is, well, how does it really stack up against other marketing channels like paid ads? And that brings us to our third and final myth. The idea that just running some paid ads on Google is cheaper, easier, and pretty much gets you the same result as SEO. This is a really common and, frankly, a very costly misconception. This slide shows the fundamental difference perfectly. Think about it this way. Paid search is like a faucet. You turn the handle, you pay the money, and traffic flows out. But the second you stop paying, that faucet shuts off completely. SEO, on the other hand, is like planting a tree. It takes time, it takes effort to grow, but eventually it produces fruit all by itself year after year. And that leads us to the most important distinction of all. Paid search rents traffic, while SEO helps you own it. Let that sink in for a second. When you pay for an ad, you are literally renting a visitor's attention from Google for a few moments. But when you earn a top ranking with good SEO, you have built an asset that generates traffic on its own. You own that stream of traffic. Okay, so let's quickly recap the most important things we've covered. First, SEO is a long-term strategy, not a bag of short-term tricks. Second, its real goal is to create value for users, because that's what search engines want to reward. Third, your job is to be the strategist who diagnoses the problems. You don't have to be the coder who fixes them. And finally, when you do it right, SEO builds a real, sustainable traffic-generating asset for your business. So I want to leave you with one final thought. For years, the question everyone in SEO asked was, how do I rank higher? But the truly great SEO strategists, they've changed the question. They're asking, how can my website be the most helpful, the most authoritative, the absolute best